today I'm going to be showing you the second shelf on my bookshelf tour on the books that I have read side of the shelf. So let's get started. So these are the first three books that I have. They are Inkheart, Inkspell and Ink Death. They are by Cornelia Funk. They are a trilogy. They are set in a world where the characters of that world can come to life, the storybook characters. And it's just a really interesting concept, and if you love books then you love the idea of them coming to life, but you know that there are also bad things that can happen. And it's just a really lovely children's series, middle grade series, so I highly recommend it. Next I have Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde. This is actually an amazing book. This is one of the most wonderful books that I've ever read. Highly recommend it. This is actually a flip back edition, which means that it's tiny in comparison to most books. It's designed for travelling and for taking with you and being portable. It's printed on incredibly thin paper so that it can contain a whole story in a really small amount of space. So this is the entire story all in here. The story itself is wonderful. It's based off of colours, and whatever colour you are decides your rank in society. And it is just a wonderful book all round. I intend to start the Thursday Next series by Jasper Fforde quite soon, so that should be quite exciting. So these are some really random books that I've got on the shelf. They are Geek Love, which is by Catherine Dunn. I read this earlier this year. It's a very strange book about a carnival and people who work there, and then what happens after the carnival is closed down to one of the people. It's based off of a family, and it's told from the point of view of one of the daughters in that family. And it's just a really strange family. The father and mother work for the carnival, and they experiment on their children to get freaks for their freak show. Then I have Me, My Family and Other Animals. This one is just a middle grade story, which is by Gerald Durrell, and it's just a lovely tale. And then Charlotte Sometimes is the story of a girl who, when she falls asleep, she actually wakes up 40 years in the past. And then Bindi Babes is basically the story of three girls whose auntie moves in with them, and they have to think of how to stop her from ruining all their fun. Next I have Magician and Silverthorne by Raymond E. Feist. These are old classics in the fantasy genre. My copy of Magician is a little bit battered, unfortunately, but I did really enjoy it. They are very sort of classic fantasy books. They start off very slow and build up to the main plot. Next I have the Maze Runner trilogy by James Dashner. I read this year and I loved them all. I thought they were really, really good. The concept is basically it's some children who get dropped into a maze. They have no idea why, but they've got to figure out how to get out of the maze. Then I have Great Expectations, which is a classic by Charles Dickens. This is the Wandsworth Classic Edition. I read this in school and studied it. I actually really like it. I haven't really read much Dickens at all. This is the only thing by him that I have actually read, and I did love it, so maybe I will get around to reading some more of his. Next I have The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. This is an adult book about a man who drives back to where he used to live when he was young, and there he meets a woman, and he starts to remember a lot of things that happened in his past, and they're kind of mystical, and it's about a girl who he used to know and all the magical things. It's a really, really, really beautiful story. Next I have 4 books from the Artemis Fowl series: The Opal Deception, The Lost Colony, The Time Paradox and The Atlantis Complex by Owen Colfer. Now, there are a lot more in this series, but I haven't actually got them all because I borrowed them from the library when I read them, and I really want to get them. This is about a teenage boy who is an expert hacker, and he finds himself on a lot of paranormal adventures because of this with fairies. Next, I have the Alex Rider series, which includes Stormbreaker, Point Blank, Skeleton Key, Eagle Strike, Scorpia and Archangel, all by Anthony Horowitz. The first 6 I have on audio CD, so they are amazing. They are really well read by Oliver Chris. I think that they are wonderful. And then I also have Snakehead, Crocodile Tears and Scorpia Rising, which are the next ones in the same series. And they are all amazing. I definitely recommend these to boys, teenage boys, but I can certainly say from experience that teenage girls would love them too. They're just really action-packed. He is a teenage spy, an undercover MI6 agent, and it's just a fantastic premise as a whole and really well written. Next, I have the first 4 books in the Power of 5 series by Anthony Horowitz. These are about 5 kids who all meet up and they all have special powers. They have to defeat the bad guys with their special powers. I recently got the last one, the 5th one, on my Kindle, Oblivion, but I haven't got very far through it yet and I sort of gave up on it, so hopefully I can get back around to that fairly soon and complete the series. Next, I have The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is the first in a series. I read this earlier this year and it's basically set in the 1920s in America, and it's about a girl who has visions every now and then whenever she touches something, and she goes to live with her uncle because one of these visions gets her into trouble, and it's about the adventures that she has there and what she discovers about herself while she is there. Next, I have some Roald Dahl books from when I was little. Roald Dahl is amazing. I think any kid should definitely experience Roald Dahl. I have The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me, which is a really short story. ECO Trot, another one. Matilda, which I used to love. The Twits, which is fantastic. And then I also have a collection which includes Boy Tales of Childhood, The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Magic Finger, James and the Giant Peach, The BFG, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. All of these are amazing. I would highly recommend Roald Dahl to anyone who has younger brothers or sisters and thinks that they need some more books. These are definitely the way to go. Next, I have the Hunger Games Trilogy by Suzanne Collins. This is about a world which is ruled by the capital and is divided up into 12 different districts. Every year the capital selects 2 children from each district, a boy and a girl, who have to compete in the games, the Hunger Games, which is different every year, and they have to all compete to the death. The second one, Catching Fire, has just come out on film, and it is one of the best films I've ever seen, and certainly the best adaptation from book to movie that I have ever seen. I would highly advise that you read the entire series and then go and see the films. Next, I have some historical fantasies, which are by Philippa Gregory. They are The Other Boleyn Girl and The Boleyn Inheritance. The Other Boleyn Girl has been made into a film recently. The film is really good, the books are really good, and she is a really good historical fiction writer. This is the Lux series by Anna Godbersen. This series I used to love. I mean, look at the covers. They are beautiful. They are the most beautiful dresses I've ever seen. They are so gorgeous. I wish I had some dresses like that. The story is basically all about high society in America and the impression that people used to have to give of themselves to be admired, and the way that this leads to lots of scandal. So these are the first 2 books in the History Keepers series. This is an ongoing series. I started it this year because I won the second one, Circumus Maximus, in a Goodreads giveaway, and it sounded like loads of fun, so I bought the first one. I read the first one and then I read the second one, and it's about a society which can actually time travel, and it's middle grade, and they have to go back in history and fight anyone who also can time travel and is looking to do so for bad reasons rather than good. They make sure that nothing goes wrong in history and that the world stays as it is now. Really, really lovely stories and some really quirky and fun characters. Next, I have John Green's Paper Towns. I've been told that John Green is amazing by so many people, that I thought I'd try this a while ago. I think I finished it this year, and I hated it. I absolutely hated this book. I just could not get into it. I didn't find it interesting, yet at the same time I can appreciate the writing is good. So I do actually own Fault in Our Stars, and hopefully I can get around to that soon and I will enjoy that a lot more. I know that that is one of his best, so hopefully I will really enjoy that. But personally I didn't enjoy this one. Next I have Professor Gargoyle, which is book 1 in the Lovecraft Middle School series. This is a middle grade book, and it is about a school where all sorts of creepy and weird things start happening, and the main characters have to figure out what is going on and try to stop it. I love the covers of these books because, as you can see, they change and they are holographic and it's wonderful. And they are just amazing, fun little reads, and I am really excited to get on to the next one. Next I have The Left Hand of God by Paul Hoffman. This is a religious-based story, but it's also fiction, and it's set in a church or a monastery where young boys, a lot of them, live, and they are taught in very harsh ways of life by harsh masters. But it's about how some of those boys suddenly discover that there is a lot that their masters are not telling them, in that there are girls and other things going on that they are not told about, and they manage to break out of this prison monastery that they live in, and they have a big adventure. I do have the second one in this series, The Last Four Things, and I intend to get around to it as soon as I possibly can. Then I have The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is the first one in the Gentleman Bastards series, and it is wonderful. I have done a review on my channel of this book, and I thought it was amazing. It says on the front, a fresh, original and engrossing tale by a bright new voice by George R.R. Martin, who is another of my favourite authors, so I knew that I had to pick it up, and I am highly, highly excited for the next one in the series. Next, I have The Princess Bride by William Goldman. This book is massively loved in America especially, and it's a really lovely tale about a sort of adventure, fairy tale sort of story. There is a film of it, which I know is meant to be very good. I haven't seen it, but I would highly recommend reading this and watching the film, because I know that a lot of people who I like on BookTube have said that it is amazing. Then I have Forgive Me, Leonard Peacock, which is a modern story about a guy who wants to kill himself and all of the things that he does before then to say goodbye. This I won as part of a giveaway on Goodreads, so this is the advanced copy cover. I don't know if it's different to the final original one, but it was a good story. It wasn't entirely my favourite. I'm not a big contemporary reader, but it was a decent story, so if you like contemporary and if you like The Silver Linings Playbook, which is also by Matthew Quick, then you will probably really enjoy it. And finally I have an advanced reader copy, which again I won off of Goodreads, of Lauren Kate's Teardrop, which is the first one in her new series. This book was really, really good. It was a fantasy read about a girl who, whenever she cries, terrible things will happen. And it's an amazing read. I really enjoyed it. I have got her Fallen series, but I have yet to read them. She is definitely a good writer in my opinion, and I really enjoyed it. So that was the second shelf on my bookshelf tour. I hope that you enjoyed it. There are quite a lot of books and I know it's really long, so thank you for watching it all. Again, I am going to be doing a lot of tags and other videos this December about books, so if you have any ideas for tags that you want to see me do, or any questions that you want me to answer, or just general video ideas, then please do let me know in the comments down below, and I will try and get round to as many suggestions as I possibly can. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!